Welcome, everybody. I am Brad, Slim Chance Cowboy. I'm here with the talented Emily Love.
Hey, Brad.
Hey, thanks, Emily, for taking your time out to meet me, West Coast, East Coast time. So we got this all figured out. First and foremost, I'm a huge fan of your album that came out. It's probably been, I have rotated it. It's one of those that has no fillers. So it's just like every song is just, I mean, it's really good. So it's been one of my favorite releases so far this year, actually. Um, So, having said that, I'll jump right into it.
Yeah.
I discovered your music via the Boots and Saddle podcast. Shout out to Sean Burns. Um, so that's he said it immediately caught my eye, caught my ear, sorry, attention, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" It was one of those moments like, "This is great." So, do you find it difficult as an indie artist to promote your music? And then is that really something that you're concerned about? Because some really aren't. They're just putting it out and they're having a good time. And country music is the genre where kind of like my Finding You with Dance a Little Closer was a song. It takes one song. And it takes one song and it can resonate and you got a fan for life. And there's a word of country music has a great grassroots and kind of word of mouth. So is that something that you even care about, or how hard is that for you to kind of get your music out there?
Yeah, I think it's really cool what happened with Sean Burns. I'll tell you a little bit more about how that all came into play, but this is my first band. This is my first time like releasing music in a real way on my own. And so I'm just like learning as I go, just trying to like get it out there, see what happens. Like there's a million things that you should do, and there's a lot of advice out there and it doesn't always apply to independent artists.
Yeah,
I'd say the cool thing about being independent is like there's nobody telling me what to do or what not to do. I
yeah,
can like get on my Instagram stories and just be like super weird and like off the cuff or like
yeah.
post political stuff. I can do whatever I want. So that's positive, right?
And I think that's great. Yeah,
Um, but the it's really exciting because I was feeling overwhelmed. I was like, oh my God, how am I supposed to promote this? And do I have to like, make all this short form video content? And do I have to like
right.
figure out how to go viral on TikTok? Like that just sounds daunting. It's not even that I'm necessarily opposed to it. It's just like I don't know how. Um, So with our first single, and I don't know how he came across it, but a music writer in LA named Donnie Cutler, who has a really
Yes.
great Substack, yeah,
Yeah.
Country Cutler. So I still read his weekly newsletter.
Hmm.
It's very like digestible too, like it's a quick, easy read. He found our single, he wrote it up, but then he also sent it to Sean Burns and DJ Salty Cracker, who I actually can't
Down
remember
in
his real
Austin.
name,
Yep.
down in Austin. And like it kind of went from there. And the cool thing about these FM radio shows is that both of these DJs are like, real like country music fans, country music historians. Like they literally curate things. They provide context. They talk about, Sean's a touring musician, so he'll be
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, when we were down in Calgary, like I met the nicest guy," and that's so interesting to hear. So that like I always love radio, and so I think that's really special and cool. And then like same thing with DJ Salty Cracker in Austin. Like these are like hand-picked things, and so because of that, they have audiences that are like early adopters and like true music fans, like all over the country and all over the world. And I just feel like really like I really feel like we struck gold by getting them to like promote our music because those are the people that matter. And you can't really get that through getting on a Spotify editorial playlist or,
Yeah.
whatever you're quote unquote supposed to do. Or even like you could maybe go, I don't know, you could maybe go viral on TikTok, but that might not be people who are necessarily like music fans. And so it's
Exactly.
so cool to have that like organic growth. And it's also been encouraging for me because I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, how do I promote my music? What am I supposed to do? And it's like, just keep going, just keep sending
Yeah.
stuff to people, doing stuff like this. Like, this is really cool.
Yeah. And like, I feel like I'm kind of involved. I'm gonna go off on a little
Yeah.
tangent here.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't want to call it meteoric. I can't say that word. Meteoric rise. I feel
Yeah.
like I heard your song. The album
Hmm.
came out, and like I'm seeing like your stuff everywhere, and all the people that we follow. I feel like it's been really fast. You're kind of ascending a little bit. I'm seeing your single cover and stuff on many podcasts and those guys like Salty Cracker and Donnie Cutler. So I feel like it's kind of it. This wasn't somebody that like you saw a YouTube video of, and then it's like, oh, album coming out next year, and like for me at least, when I got introduced to your music, it was like your album was out like a month later, and it just seems you're everywhere right now. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. But yeah, you mentioned Donnie. He's we talk a little bit. He probably doesn't know this, but kind of like he's like world class with what not world class, but what he does is really cool. And I'm it kind of as I'm uh, kind of dipping my toe in this kind of new thing. Um, I'm kind of looking at some of his stuff and I'm like, man, it's really well. He's a really nice guy, and
Yeah.
he's a great interviewer,
Yeah.
and his content's really good. And actually, when I put that thing out on my story as about 2 months ago, I wanted to do something different. And that's how I got involved with the Rugged Revival. It was DJ Salty Cracker because I put on the story that I hate the sound of my own voice, and so I'm kind of getting over this a little bit. He was the one that responded. We kind of chatted back and forth, and he was like, "You just got to do it. I don't like my voice either." So, yeah, it's kind of cool that you mentioned those two guys because they're. I love DJ Salty Crackers. Some of his playlists are so deep of stuff, and it's like, how did he find this song? Like,
Yeah, it's so cool. Like, I also want to say about Donnie Cutler, I super appreciate he is like proactive about supporting women musicians
he is
and I love that. And like
very much so.
he walks the walk. He doesn't just talk the talk. And
Yeah,
like, I wanted to give him a big shout out for that. And but yeah, also his stuff is like, he'll do his weekly release thing, but then also these little like think pieces. There's a great one about I can't remember what the sort of motion movement was called, but this like early like late 80s, early 90s like Austin scene that the Derailers came out of, which I
yeah.
really loved that sound, but
I love the Trailers. Yeah,
I never thought about it or thought about like how that came to be, and his writing on it was really concise for our short attention spans right now, but well researched, and like I learned something about music, and I'm just loving that that's all coming back. Like we're saying, like these people are they're researching stuff, they're finding like older music, and they're exposing you to new things where it you can really take that for granted. Like I think there was, and I fell into it too, even though I'm like a music fan and a musician, you kind of just get like spoon-fed whatever music, but to have people really going out of their way to find stuff is just super cool. So yeah.
yeah, definitely. And I
Yeah.
might have a blog post on the Rugged Revivals website about women of honky tonk and country in general because they've kind of been killing it actually. So I mean, it's
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like the past couple years, my top 10 albums of the year, I mean, like 7 or 8 of them are like women. The music's just fantastic. So yeah, so your album is full of like raw, high energy honky tonk. That's what I'll call it.
Yeah.
And it was like I said, it was a breath of fresh air when I heard the single, all three singles, and then heard the album. What inspirations did you draw from while setting out to make the record, or that the process of how the songs came up? I don't know if these songs were long living with you or something that just inspired and came up.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like some of these songs, there's one that it's called Boots or Boots in My Closet on the record that I have had that one for a while. I recorded like kind of a bluegrass version of that
Hmm.
in 2015 in New Orleans that you can like deep
Mm,
dive my Bandcamp to find.
okay.
Sounds different. But yeah, for the most part, they all came like all of a sudden. I'd gone through like a really tough, like my 2020 like COVID arc was like really, really tough. And then I started going back out again in the Portland honky tonk scene after not being plugged into it for a while.
Yeah.
And it was super inspiring. I was so excited. I was having a lot of fun and I was like doing social stuff and I was doing two-step and dancing and like that's also like it's really good for you. It's like really good for you like
Yeah.
emotionally, physically. There's like actual studies that found that. And I just was like I want more of this. Like I want more of this in the world. This is the music I want to hear. And then also, I had my little like sort of internal jokes and gripes and like kind of funny stories that happened or some of them are real, some of them are imaginary, but it was just
Hmm.
what I wanted to hear. It was like what I wanted and what I was um enjoying in the world. And it also finally felt okay to to like and make just straight up like fun, kind of cheesy country music. And I think for a while when I was coming up, starting to play music, I thought it all had to be like
Serious,
like
yeah.
just art-worn highways, like we love
Right.
Towns Van. Like that's just not really me.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. Listen, because your album is again, I mean, look, I could probably point out all kinds of George Jones stuff here
Yeah.
in my man
And I
cave.
love George Jones. Yeah.
I love sad bastard music is what I
Yeah.
heard Vincent Neil Emerson call it when he was on stage. But uh, having said that, though, I didn't really think about that. Your album really does not have a true like ballad, but it is it's dancing music and it's fun. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much because it was such a contrast to some of the sad music that I'm constantly listening to, and it's actually good. So it's funny you bring that up because I didn't really think of that angle while listening to your record. It is all fun, very modern, but also very steeped in tradition. It's a nice little blend.
Thank you. Yeah. It's a good
Um,
compliment.
yeah. So actually, on the tail end of that, my next question: what would you consider your musical like tapestry? I know some people can go on for hours and hours about this. I know I can. I have a bluegrass
Yeah.
background, and then all kinds of other stuff. But and then differing from that, or I'm sorry, as a follow up,
Yeah.
how did your solo work differ than before you were at the Highliners? Because I did do some research on you that you were doing some solo stuff before you formed your band.
Yeah. Um, the way back of like how I got to first hate and then love country music is when I was a kid,
Same.
in I'm a millennial, so like 90s, I was a kid. My
Yep.
mom was really like I could name like three albums that she was just on heavy, heavy, heavy rotation, and that is Hal Ketchum, Past the Point of Rescue.
Wow.
Talk
Okay.
incredible album,
Yeah.
so sad. Like the
Yeah. Yeah.
saddest the song about I Miss My Mary, which is about being like an old sailor who's like drunk in a bar, missing his like, I don't know, dead or gone ex. It's like it's insanely sad. It's very good. I think it's one of the best country albums ever. Clint Black, Killing Time,
Oh,
and then
fantastic album. Yeah.
Randy Travis. I think it's Old 8 by 10.
Okay.
It's the one where he's on the logs.
Yes,
Um,
that's only by 10. Yep, the log cover. I know that exactly. Yep.
Yeah, heavy rotation, and then Bonnie Raitt. She was listening to a lot of Bonnie
Oh,
Raitt too.
okay.
I just remember coming home and being like, "Oh no!" Like my mom is listening to the country music. Like
Uh-oh.
she's sad.
Uh,
I'm like,
there's a banana bread in the oven and chilies on the stove kind of stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and I was like, "Oh no." But then like it just got in my head, and like I was like into punk as a teenager and in my early
Yep.
20s, and then there's that pipeline. Like it just happens where like you have some older friends who like I literally remember going into a record store and like some old record store guy just giving me a stack of like he gave me a stack of like Kitty Wells,
Mm,
Patsy Cline, Lynn Anderson. He just was like, "Here, check these out."
nice.
Um, and then when I started playing music, which was kind of later, I mean, I'd played guitar since I was a teenager, but I was doing like simple bluegrass and like busking because that was within my abilities.
Sure.
And then I remember hanging out with a lot of like bluegrass and old time people, and I would just be like, "Yeah, but what about this Dan Seals song?" And they'd be like, "Oh, brother." I'm like, "No, no, but like really listen to it if you like the song itself is so good and like the song structure and like the lyrics are great." But that like wasn't cool at the time. So I'm very glad that all the like it's I'm glad country's cool again,
It
honestly.
kind of is. I mean, I don't think it ever was not cool, but it definitely having a moment. And
Yeah.
your tapestry is very similar to mine. My mom
Yeah.
was top 40 and
Yeah.
but she had the Billy Ray Cyrus cassette in the car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course. Some gave all with Icky Breaky Heart, of course. She had a Reba cassette in Alabama, but it was a lot of it was a lot of top 40. And my dad was I get the classic rock from my dad, but he was also very big into Bakersfield stuff. So
Ah.
he wanted his country music to be boot tapping. I mean, he would probably love your album. I should probably get him onto it. But he like I remember when I gave him like a he was listening to like a Mavericks album. I think it was What a Crying Shame. And he loved that. Raul
Yeah.
Malo is a but yeah, my dad loves Dwight Yoakam and Buck Owens and Merle Haggard. So and then my grandparents were pretty prominent bluegrass musicians in this area.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I had that, and then also, like you said, in the late '90s, I was a teenager, so it was Corn, Limp Bizkit, Gene Co. Jeans,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I
Yeah.
got my driver's license, and I had a pickup truck, and I bought a flannel shirt because I'm like, yeah, I got a truck now, and it was Al Jack. I bought an Alan Jackson CD and then I went back, just like you said, and then I started my discovery mode. So yeah, we had kind of a similar tapestry. It's kind of funny.
That's
Um,
super funny. I was
yeah.
gonna, I meant to say also like at the time that I was writing this album, I was listening to so much Bob Wills. Even though
Mm,
this album isn't like super swinging, there's like one, I think there's like one or two songs I think have a little more Western swing. I was listening to so much Bob Wills and so much Buck Owens. It was just like, and so much Dwight Yoakam. It was just like in
mm,
my brain.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's
I
why I like doing those little asides in the records, like, tell them all about it, boys. I actually did a lot of those and we cut a lot out. They're like, Emily, gotta stop doing the like Bob Wills asides to the
oh, their
band.
sides are like
So fun.
I picture Ernest Tubb,
Yeah,
Leon
Ernest.
and
Yeah, yeah,
hey
yeah.
buddy. Every time Buddy Emmons played a steel break, it was like which is kind of cool. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. Yeah, I actually just recently got into Bob Wills. I think as I get older, I'm appreciating different music. If you would have gave me a Bob Wills record like 10 years ago, I'm like, yeah, it's like Jimmy Rogers is too. There's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
enough
yeah.
stuff there. But now I'm like, okay, I can kind of see how people took from this and I really like some of the so Bob Wills and like Lefty. I'm kind of getting into a lot of that stuff. So that's
Yeah.
cool. So here's something I've been asking a lot of people. So I'm very intrigued and interested at all these like micro communities in country music. I interviewed Olivia Ellen Lloyd, and she's in the New York area. We talked
Yeah.
about that. We talked about that a little bit, but I do know the PNW shout out is actually pretty strong. And you guys have, I would assume, have there's guys like Wes Usey and Cassie Velazza, who is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, Margot Silker. I think Nico Case is from there. And there's a plethora. I know I'm leaving out a bunch of people, but what did you notice about the musical lineage and how that might differ from like LA? Because I know LA has I would say LA has one of the best country music scenes people would probably never know of. They'll think of Austin or Nashville, but like LA's is pretty happening, and you guys are right up there. So how does that kind of fit together? And I'm just so intrigued by all these different communities in music, and like what does that meant to you?
Yeah, I really chewed on this question and I wasn't sure 'cause, yeah, spoiler alert, you pre-sent these to me, but and I
Out of
wasn't
courtesy.
no, and I wasn't sure how to answer it. And it's
Yeah,
funny because like, you're inside of it and you're like other places look cooler to you. You're like, what
right.
is it? I mean, I think one thing that has happened in recent years that has really helped specifically our like country music scene is there's this guy James Jones who's also a musician. He's got a new record out right now under the Ghost of James Jones is his artist name, but
Mm,
he runs an Instagram page called Honky Tonk Basement, and it's all about just like promoting stuff in the scene. So he just does like every week he does a calendar, he does like a post about shows that are coming up. He will go to shows and like take good videos and tag you in it, and like that stuff actually really matters. Like it gets a lot of eyes on things and it
yeah.
gets people like feeling like they're part of something cohesive. So I think what we've seen in the little micro boom inside of Portland in the past few years, like since the pandemic, has a lot to do with him, and he deserves a lot of credit. It's
Okay.
not always like just the musicians, it's the people bringing the community together. But yeah, like Cassie and Wes are people that I've known and like known around for a long time. Like they've been playing music for like I don't know, like at least 10 years. Like I've been seeing them around, and then it takes that long. It takes that long in music. Like it takes
Yeah,
that long to
yeah.
get
To
through.
build stuff out. Yeah.
But I think that, well, here's my theory, and it's totally just like my opinion made up. I think that the difference between like being in Portland or maybe like Austin, Nashville, LA, and there's a million other scenes, but I know less about
Mm,
them, is there isn't this like carrot of like music industry right there for you to be
yeah.
like, I'm gonna get a record. There's no like
Good
record deal
point.
you're gonna get in Portland. There's no like there's not gonna be an A&R guy at your show
Yeah.
in Portland.
Right.
Like nobody's gonna discover you in Portland. Like there's a lot of music and there's a lot of musicians, but I think that in that way people just it's like a corny turn of phrase, but like they're really just focusing on the music for
Yeah.
longer and they're not focusing on the music business part of it. And I think that
Right.
makes people better. Like they just
Ah,
play for a really long time and get good and get dialed in. And
for
we
the love of
have,
the game. Yeah.
yeah, and we have like some great venues that like make that possible. Like the Laurel Thirst Pub and like the owner Louis Longmire are just like huge parts of like, Cassie's coming up. Like I remember seeing her playing at like songwriter nights, like working on her song craft like many, many, many years ago. And now like
Mm.
he's part of her band, and it's just like this really special place that you might not know about if you're not from Portland, but it's this great like incubator for music, and having spaces like that and having people who are going to come out to shows, and then just like Wes like works. Wes is a great musician and he like gigs consistently, and like you just build that like music muscle by doing that. So I think that's my theory. I think that's it, is that you're not just like trying to get noticed, and I think you're at like maybe a more sustainable pace of playing music where you're not like doing the what I imagine Austin is like is you're just playing like
Oh yeah,
all
there's
night every
venues.
night.
Yeah, there's venues everywhere, and that there's probably and there's definitely I don't know if there's labels, but there's definitely A&R guys because it's such a hotbed
Yeah.
of music. So they're probably snooping around. But I never thought about that angle. That's a very good point. That Portland really doesn't have a big record label, so they're just doing it for the love of the music and their craft. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I think so. And it's like totally, that's just my guess. And then often we get people and you get bigger and you leave. Like, Cassie's in New Orleans now and I think headed to Nashville soon. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know what it is, but we are having like a real moment, and that's cool because I used to feel a little bit self-conscious about being like, I'm a country musician. Like, where are you from? I'm like, Portland. And now if you're like, I'm a country musician, and you're like, oh, I'm from Portland, they're like, oh wow, there's a lot going on in Portland. I'm like, oh
That's
yeah.
I will tell you when I heard your song and I did some research, that exact reaction would have been me like 4, 5, 6 years ago,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I just kind of scrolled past it because I was like, oh,
yeah,
Portland. It wasn't that reaction of like Portland.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
more
yeah.
like, oh, Portland. Like
Yeah, yeah, sure.
yeah,
Makes sense.
chalk up another artist from Portland because there's I know I left out a bunch. I'm sure there's some that I have their songs and I just don't know that they're from that area, but
Yeah.
that's really cool. So I guess the last thing I had for you was what is on the horizon for you and the Highliners, and any plans for? I know this is really hard to get out there as
Yeah.
an independent artist. You guys are 4,000 miles away, but any plans for some major tours or East Coast maybe where I can come see a show?
We've got like plans to make plans. I
Plans to
guess,
make plans. Okay, fair enough. We all
the
do.
last 2 years we were hitting it really hard with like trying to play a lot of, local regional gigs and just getting tight as a band, then really focusing on getting the album out. And then the beautiful thing about having the album out is now the album is out in the world and people can hear
Yeah.
it everywhere. So we have some contacts. Another great, I'm sure Olivia might have mentioned this in your talk about the New York scene, but the Hawk's Nest Shop in New York, like they had us on, or they had me on for an interview for their radio show. They do honky tonks up in New York.
Yeah.
Talked to some people in Baltimore as well.
Nice.
Um,
Would that
so I'm
be
kind of piecing
Metro
together.
or who?
Can't
What?
remember.
Let's see. Baltimore. There's Metro. There's Actually, I'm more
Yeah,
familiar with the DC scene. I'm sure there's some stuff in Baltimore that I'm probably forgetting. The 8x10
yeah.
is one of them. I think's the name of it. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I've got a friend Danny in Pennsylvania who's kind of putting us onto some stuff. I've been talking to Ramona of Ramona and the Holy Smokes about her tips on the region.
she's awesome. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, talk about women killing it in country right
Yes.
now. I'm obsessed with her
Yes.
new album. It's very
Oh yeah,
good.
I have it. It's actually what my laptop is sitting on right now. Sorry,
Ah,
Ramona.
that's so
Sorry, Ramona.
cool.
You are not just a coaster, Ramona. You're the albums
Um,
on top of my stack. So
yeah, so we're hoping to like I would love to get out to the East Coast. We've got theoretically we have the technology. And then talking to a lot of people in LA. We've got a lot of people who like our music in LA. So it sounds like we could do a great run from Portland down to LA. There's great venues in Santa Cruz and some other places along the way. We'd like to do that. And then we have when do you think you'll release this interview?
I don't
After
know.
tomorrow?
I
Okay.
will. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll upload it to the thing, and my guy. So the Rugged Revival is UK based, so he'll probably doctor it up tomorrow, and it'll probably come out like Thursday, Friday. That's my guess.
Okay, perfect. Then I can say this. We are playing at Jackalope Jamboree in Pendleton, which is
That's a
officially that's tomorrow, but it's a really cool festival.
that's a big deal. There is. I have. That is one of the shows that in Under the Big Sky, and some other stuff that I have seen the lineups for Jackalope, and I'm like, holy shit, that is an awesome lineup.
Yeah, and I didn't get to go last year. I had a wedding I had to go to, but I went the year before. It's a really special festival. I really like how the lineup is curated. It's a great mix of, I think, kind of like your like, alt country-ish stuff.
Yep.
You get stuff that's a little bit more folky, and then you have stuff that I would call like I've invented this genre. It's called square-toed boot country. It's like not bro country, but it's a little bit more like a little
A
bit
little bit
more
more
regular.
particular. I know exactly what you're talking about, and
And so you get a great spread of people. So
yeah,
I'm excited to meet the other artists and be involved in that because the organizer also just really does a great job of like promoting Pacific Northwest talent. So it's like we're really excited about that. That's a big thing on our coming up in
no, no,
2026.
no square toes here. Cowboy snip toe.
Yeah. I'm glad you know what I meant by that. I was like, it's
I immediately knew I was going to mention some names. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to mention names, but I immediately knew what you meant. So that's awesome. Actually, having you said that, there's it's not a place, it's an
yeah.
event called Baltimore Honky Tonk. They usually hold it at a brewery that is like
Yeah.
under the road, under the highway, but they also had it at they had it at a ballroom kind of thing. It was like 110 degrees that night, and JP Harris played there.
Oh,
And
cool.
it was that they want to dance the entire time. They want a two step. So they had Ditch Kurtz was playing steel that night, and they had it was the first concert I've ever been at where I for a fact they had the steel monitor up on like 10, and like the rest of the band's stuff you couldn't even hear. So it was just unless I was just by that speaker, but it was just steel guitar reverberating. People are two stepping for like 4 hours. It was very very hot in that room that night. But they do it. It's the first Thursday of every month, uh,
Cool.
and they do it at a couple different places. And then so, I mean, I know some of the people that run that. Of course, Baltimore's a far away from Portland, but you guys would
Yeah.
be that type of music you play. That high energy honky tonk is perfect for what they do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
exactly what they do, and it's yeah, it was. I had a blast that night when I saw JP Harris there. It was so fun.
That sounds super fun. Um, yeah, but yeah, sorry about the like disjointed way I might have brought up the Jackalope Jamboree, but we're really excited about that. And then I'm trying to build a little tour around that run. And then yeah, if people are hearing this and they're on the East Coast and would like to help us book a tour or would like to help us book a show on the East Coast, my email's in our Instagram bio. I answer them. I don't have an agent yet, so it's just me. Same thing for the West Coast. If you want us to play, let me know, and that'll really help us. It'll tilt our hand to coming to see you.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, everybody. Emily Love, the album. The album is out September 8th. It was out September 8th. Heart of a Fool. Bandcamp. Go to Bandcamp, get the album, download it. I think is this something you've been doing or is it the best country album on Bandcamp? Because I've seen you
It
post.
is. No, it really is. We got a write-up.
That's awesome.
Not it wasn't the best, but they did a list of the best country music on Bandcamp, and it was among several other great records, including like a Rodney Crowell album. So I was really honored to be just even
Hmm.
mentioned in the same breath as him. But it's a nice write-up, and Wes Yause's album's on there as well.
Good. Very, very
Yeah.
good. So I would implore everyone to find Emily, find her music. You know my adage, go to the show, buy the merch, buy the vinyl. And I want that Loves sticker, the gas
Oh
station.
yeah, I'll mail you one. Send me your address. I'll send you one in the mail. Yeah,
That's great. I mean, I'll Venmo you the money for it, but that
for
was
sure.
such. I go to Love's gas stations all the time, so it made perfect sense. So
We had hats, but we sold out of them, and they're very hard to mail. So that's going to be like a shows only item if we make
yeah, of
another run of
course.
them. But yeah,
Okay. Any do you have vinyl in the works or no? I know that's a quite an expense to put out there.
it's expensive.
Yeah,
Again, if you are wanting to collaborate on funding a vinyl run, I would be very open to that. Let's make it work. I have, great mastering engineer who can make that happen. I already have it priced out. I'm ready to go.
great.
So someone wants to
It
help.
would definitely sound good on the turntable down here. So
Yeah.
great. Well, thank you. I'm going
Cool.
to stop the recording.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for your time too.
Yeah, appreciate